Good evening and welcome to the Invictus Racing League Tier 2 for the equal performances. This is the middle tier. We're here for round 6 at the Principality of Monaco for the Monaco Grand Prix, the jewel of the calendar for F1. Joining myself, JPH as Penor, is Bruce Lee Harding. Bruce, how are you tonight?
Good evening. Yeah, good. Very, very good. Looking forward to this. I look forward to every race. I say it every week, but this is going to be particularly interesting to see how everyone deals with the narrow nature of this place.
Yeah, and the slight issue really for this race, as we saw last night in the Tier 3 race, is that whilst the safety car is enabled, they seem very reluctant to throw it out in Monaco.
Yeah, I don't know whether or not maybe the safety car's too wide or something. I'm not sure. Yeah, it's a bit of a strange one that it doesn't seem to come out, but still there's the chance of virtual safety cars as well. So that can mix up the strategy. You know, if you can get a pit stop under the VSC, you will save yourself some time. So it is a good tool to make some places up.
Yeah, absolutely. Obviously, Monaco, 2 miles long, just over 3.3 kilometres, first Grand Prix 1950, and only one DRS zone, which is completely useless as cars start to come out on track. I think we probably expect quite a lot of cars out on track to start the session.
Yeah, and with a 20 car lineup for tonight, it's going to be vital to making sure you got that space on the track. It'd be quite easy to get bulked. Obviously, the guys won't do it deliberately, but it's quite easy to stumble across someone in a really awkward place. So, yeah, track positioning in qualifying, let alone the race, is going to be quite important.
Yeah, and it's obviously quite easy, really, amazing around a street circuit to invalidate your lap, obviously through the Nouvelle Chicane, the swimming pool complex, and Saint-Devote. So it's crucial to get a bank lap as we watch Kez just coming through the swimming pool now.
Yeah, definitely. I think you'll see that now. I think a lot of these guys on their first runs will just want to get a time in. And then, yeah, maybe start pushing on their second runs. It's one of those you really don't want to be in the mid pack around here at all. It's a bit dangerous. So, yeah, getting that good lap is quite vital.
Yeah, I think we've got Kuipers coming around. So, do you want to take us for a lap of Monaco?
I'll let you do. You've got all the stuff in front of you. You go for it.
So, Kuipers just coming out of Anthony Knows the last corner. Then time for 2 miles of street circuit through the DRS zone up towards Saint-Devote, turn 1, down to third, get the car turn in, and boot the throttle as you head up Beau Rivage. Corner 2, this little left kink before you head right into Massenet. Down to fourth, late apex, keep it tight for Casino at turn 4. Down the hill, keep to the right and then back to left for Mirabeau. Again, very slow corner. You've got to make sure you stay kind of central to the road. Now, what's known as the Grand Hotel hairpin, but everyone calls it Lowe's because it is Lowe's hairpin. Just the slowest corner on the calendar. The 98 just before Portier. Crucial to get Portier right because that leads you on through the tunnel, which is absolutely flat as Keza sets a 1:11.5. Flat through the tunnel, over the crest where Joe had a massive moment, into the Nouvelle Chicane. And very easy to corner cut there. Up to Tabac, down a gear, launch the car through the corners, down head towards the swimming pool chicanes. Flat for the first one, down to fourth for the second. Careful on the curb, it will kick the car. Over to Raskas. Just really nasty 90 right, then up the hill, over the crest, into Anthony Knows. Got to be careful because the car will go light there. Back down the main straight, and that is a lap of Monaco in 1:11.1.
Yeah, it's a great lap there from Kuipers to start as a fair chunk. Clear of Kez there in second. Obviously, a lot of guys still now out on track. I'm just currently watching Ruddo 24, the ex-Ginetta racer here. I don't think it would serve him much use around Monaco. But yeah, the ex Ginetta racer here having a go, and a 1:11.6, so yeah, up to third for Ruddo. It's a good start.
That's not bad time at all for Ruddo. He used to drive Ginetta GT4s, but can you imagine if a Ginetta Junior race was to take place around here? It'd be very interesting, that's for certain, especially after some of the F3 races we've seen.
I think you definitely get some overtaking then, that's for sure. How many cars would finish is another thing, but yeah, it would be exciting, definitely.
And here comes Ivan Belov through the swimming pool complex on his first attempt in the Haas. Round Raskas. Raskas is a weird corner. You can't make a move there, but you is very much known as the Raskas dive bomb. Very much invented as Ivan goes third. That move kind of invented by a YouTuber called Aravat. Made that move quite famous in the YouTube world. But everyone else now coming in to change tyres. Ad Lucas is currently on track. I think he is on a flying lap, I believe.
Yes, I believe so. Just coming up the tunnel now down to the chicane. I haven't seen a split time from just yet, but it should be coming up shortly, hopefully.
Just something.
53-2, and I'm unsure how that compares to everyone else at the moment.
Yeah, so you head through Raskas up to Anthony Nose. Scotty has got back in, which is good news as Lucas goes 10th. Obviously, Aston Martin, as Joe Hamster was pointing out yesterday, slowly taking over the IRL leagues at the moment for each tier, which is good if you're an Aston Martin driver like we are.
Yes, it's quite a handy stable to be in at the moment by the seams of it. Just also a note there, JC Battigal and Matty Rudd there, 6th and 7th after their first runs. That's a really, really good start for them to qualifying. Yeah, obviously Scotty now he's back in, so you'd expect him to start setting some times up near the top. Now he's back into quali. Yeah, Kuipers and Keza and Ivan at the front, the usual suspects so far.
Oh, and Joe Hamster out of qualifying in the Nouvelle chicane. He's just turned in slightly too early, as we saw a few people do yesterday, and the front left wheel is off of that Aston Martin.
Yeah, it's unfortunate for Joe. You fear now with Owen and Pampone yet to set a time that he's going to be starting right at the back of the grid now, which is going to be a very, very difficult race.
Yeah, I mean, we were saying earlier how crucial it was to get a banker lap in, and that is the risk you take if you don't get one in. As Owen comes onto the Nouvelle chicane. That car is out of the way, which is good to see. So no one's going to be able to further retire from it. But Owen, he's had a bit of an up and down start to this season. He's shown pace at some circuits, got a bit unlucky at others, but he'll be looking for a nice starting position here. His teammate of Kent up in 9th at the moment.
Yeah, just looking now to see who else is out on the lap. I think we've got Lewis de Beeker's just started a fine lap. Excuse me. I think SFR Martin is currently on a lap as well. So there's a few guys out there. I believe Simply 90 as well is currently having a go.
Yeah, obviously Simply in the AlphaTauri, which has Minardi DNA, for which an ex-British racing driver of Justin Wilson piloted a Minardi round here in 2003 and retired with a fuel system problem. Bit of an underrated driver was Justin Wilson as he went on to IndyCar, got a couple of second places in the championship, as Simply comes across the line, and it is a 1-2 for the AlphaTauris. And as I believe James Allen said back in Monza, with Minardi DNA in it.
Yeah, it's a good lap there from Simply, putting himself up onto the front row alongside his teammate. Currently got a AlphaTauri 1-2 and a Haas 3-4, I believe. So yeah, it's nice when you've got your teammate alongside you. It can make the race starts a little bit easier, but obviously we're still early days at the moment in qualifying. A lot could still change.
We've got a yellow flag. It's for Williams. See this Martin, I think, just getting out of the way of people. Look, he's just on an in-lap. Currently 5th is Martin. He'll be looking for a good result. But Ryan goes 3rd quickest in the Ferrari. So Ryan splitting up the two lockouts there.
Yeah, I think Matty Rudd might have been attempting a lap just a minute ago, but it looks like he invalidated it. So he's having another go now by the looks of it, see if he can improve. Yeah, some very close times at the front there. Simply 90 and Ryan. I mean, that's not a lot of time really. You can almost visualise that going over the line there wouldn't be much more than a piece of asparagus between them, really.
And Ivan goes top of the... did go top of the pile until Kuiper's put in a 110.4. That is rapid. Scotty has joined the party now that he's back in the session. A 111.1 for him in the Aston Martin. And now we're starting to see the more mixed up grid of teams that we're used to seeing this season as Roddo comes through to finish his latest attempt. What can he get out of the car? It's a 111.2, so up to 4th place. Top 4, all in different cars.
Yeah, it was good to see a good mixture. Matty Rudd's slightly up here. I think he could be pushing maybe 10th, or possibly it's going to be close, but yeah, it's starting to get mixed up now at the top. Oh, well, I said 10th. Looks like 6th. He gained about nearly 3/10 in that last sector on his previous best lap, so yeah, that was some going.
And now Kent makes it 5 constructors in the top 5 as he goes 5th with a 111.260. I mean, you can't really get much closer than this. 1 second covering pretty much the top 10 here.
Yeah, you consider Kuiper's is got 6/10 of that to Ivan Beloff. That's quite a big gap, really, there at the front, which Kuiper's will be absolutely delighted with at the moment, and potentially Ivan and Scotty and Roddo will be scratching their heads as to where on earth they're going to get that time from.
And Keza immediately invalidates his flying lap around Sandoval. Very easy to do. Who's that coming around? That's... Here's Blackside. He's not on a flying lap, they were looks of things. JC Pascal looks like he's on a push, but yeah, I think he was down by 0.6 of a second, so I'm not quite sure what JC Battle was doing in the Ferrari. And he's coming into the pits.
Yeah, a lot of people heading into the pits at the moment. Pampone's on a... Is that Pampone? Pampone's on the out lap, and...
We got Ginger Tiger.
Ginger Tiger is doing here.
He's coming into the pits. Oh, there's I think Simply's going round to start one.
Yeah, slight lull in proceedings now. We're down to just a few cars going round before the manic last few minutes, I should imagine. But, I shall keep an eye on Pampo in a minute, as he's right down the back of the pack, but maybe he'll improve.
Yeah, I'm on board with Simply as we head down towards Mirabeau there. Very awkward section this, from Mirabeau down to Portier. It's very much punching on the throttle and hoping the car kind of sticks, especially with the curbs you kind of have to take. So he's short shifting into 3rd through Portier. Down towards the Nouvelle Chicane. I mean, Joe Hamster has effectively visited Whiffin's wall tonight, because Darryl Whiffin did hit that wall yesterday, as did Mikey RK13. So we've got a few tourists here in Monaco visiting Whiffin's wall.
Yeah, another one, another wall for Whiffin. He's finding them quite easily this year, unfortunately, and obviously he's had that pace, but yeah, there we go. He's staking a claim on all the circuits at the moment, but Simply 90 there up to 2nd, I believe. Yeah,
good lap time, 110.698. Those AlphaTauris are looking incredibly strong. Meanwhile, Kez has lost a front wing, possibly just trying to get back to the pits quickly to make sure he can get another lap in. And I believe Pampone's invalidated, so he'll probably be coming in for a new set of boots.
Yeah, it looked like Pampone didn't have a very good first attempt, so it looks like he went for a second lap, and immediately at turn 1 invalidated his next effort. So
he's gone round again. Yeah, those tyres are going to be a little... I mean, I know it's Monaco, but those tyres aren't going to be in the greatest of shapes, although I suspect if he gets this one wrong, he still has just about enough time to maybe get in the pits and get out, because it's not exactly the longest out lap in the world, I mean, as Lucas goes 11th.
It'd be interesting to know how much fuel he's got in. He did run slightly deep there coming out of Casino Square, so I think yeah, he's possibly not going to improve because it looked like he had to slow down quite a lot then. I'm still keeping an eye on him though.
So we're going to look. It looks like Matty Rudd coming to the end of his second or third attempt here. I think this is his third and final attempt, going out when the track is slightly more quieter. And a 1:11.392 puts him into 8th place for now. Whether he's got enough fuel on board to maybe do a cool down and go again at the end just in case, we'll have to wait and see. So the Haas of Ivan comes through for a 1:11.1. He goes into, or stays in 3rd place, I should say.
The trials and tribulations of Pampoen continue. He aborted that lap and straight lined the Nouvelle chicane. So, yeah, back to the pits. He should have enough time, I think, to get some new boots on and have one more attempt. But at the moment, he's currently joining Joe at the back end of the grid.
Lots of people here are very much invalidating their laps, and it definitely looks like it's turn 1 at Saint-Devote and turn 10 at the Nouvelle chicane that has been done, as Ricey Spicy, I think, has just invalidated his at the Nouvelle chicane.
Yeah, we've got a spinner, and that is Ginger Tiger, who's missing his front wing. He spun it coming out the last corner by the looks of it, and obviously he's now got to go around and do an entire lap on the front wing, so I think that's his qualifying done now.
Yeah, that's going to be awkward as well, because he's going to have to try and get out of the way of people who are on quali laps. And, I mean, with no front wing, I mean, the car doesn't want to turn anywhere around Monte Carlo, but that just makes it even harder to try and make sure you pinpoint your car so you're easy to get past. Matty Rudd up to 4th as well, 1:11.1.
Yes. I was about to say that. That's a great effort for Matty to put himself up that high. Just currently watching his teammate Ruddo, see how he gets on.
Yeah, Ruddo just coming down to the Nouvelle chicane. We are now starting to see everyone pile out on track. We do have, I think that's Ginger Tiger, just gone off track to let people through. Will cause a yellow flag, but probably the safest thing for him to do is he's down at Mirabeau.
There's lots of yellow flag notifications. It's like I've got a bit of a disco going on my screen at the moment with yellows and then greens. I'm not really sure what's happening, but yeah, Ruddo now coming up to the line, and he's 4 tenths quicker to go 3rd.
Yeah, 1:10.8. That's impressive to see. 4 people in the 1 minute 10s. Definitely quicker than last night, I can assure you of that one. Kuiper's down by 0.1. I'm not sure if Ginger Tiger maybe not necessarily got in his way, but there would have been a slightly distracting that for Kuiper's coming out 48 as we go into the Nouvelle chicane. The question is, has he got any more time to give? Because at 1:10.4, you have to feel there's not a lot more left you can give, but I'm hoping Kuiper's might prove me wrong, but he's 3 tenths down and invalidated that lap, so maybe he's going to go again, although he hasn't got a lot of ERS to play with. But he's not going to bother.
Has retired from the session.
Nouvelle chicane.
Nouvelle chicane. So, and he's facing the wrong way as well, so he's done a good job, I'm assuming. Oh, there's a Ferrari straight line in the chicane there. It looks like he's maybe clipped the front wheel and then clipped the back wheel as well, and that's just spun him round. But yeah, definitely 3 wheels on the wagon for Simply 90 there.
Meanwhile, it's showing Scotty as purple sector 2, but we know how temperamental that is. Up towards the last corner.
Keza at turn 1, I think, by the looks of that. Just following Scotty's on board now.
And Scotty 6th in the Aston Martin.
I'm not sure what's happened there. Keza's gone very much straight on. But he's out as well.
Let's have a look. We've got Kent on a lap at the moment. Yellow flag. That's just going through the tunnel. Someone letting someone else through. The Alpine of Kent, what can he do? He's 9th of them. Oh, big snap coming through Anthony Notes. Well held by the Alpine as he comes up to the line. It'll cost him time. And yeah, he doesn't go any quicker because of that slide. SFR Martins, I don't think, is on a lap anyway. Let's have a look down.
As Lucas has invalidated, so it's only
that's JC Battigal.
Validated, so that is it, I believe. I think that's your lot for qualifying.
And it is going to be Kuipers who takes pole position, and not necessarily the most comfortable, but around Monaco nearly, well, just over 2/10 to his teammate Simply. It's an AlphaTauri lockout, and you can't, as a team, you can't really complain about a front row lockout in Monaco.
No, that's great for the AlphaTauris. You know, they should be able to work together now off the start line to hopefully for them come out 1 and 2 out of turn 1. The gap isn't quite as big as it was at one point there for Kuipers, but as you say, that's still quite a large margin around a circuit like this, 2/10. Yeah, it could be quite interesting. Obviously, Ruddo as well, just behind him, he'll be delighted with third on the grid.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I was speaking to Ruddo beforehand, and obviously not the most liked track, Monaco, because of how hard it is. But Bruce, you want to take us through qualifying?
Absolutely, yeah. So top of the timesheets is Kuipers with his teammate in the AlphaTauri of Simply 90 alongside him on the front row. Ruddo 24, third with Ivan Beloff in fourth. Keza fifth and Scotty sixth. Matty Rudd seventh with SFR Martin in eighth. Kent and Ginger Tiger on the fifth row. Ryan and Blackside on row 6, Sunboy and Ads Lucas row 7, Owen and JC Batagall row 8, Lewis DeBeeker, who has got a podium this season to his name, 17th with Ricey Spicy 18th, newcomer Pam Pern in 19th, and Joe not setting a lap time after a crash in 20th.
Yeah, and I think whilst we're waiting for everyone, we'll quickly go through like the top 5 of each championship. So Scotty does lead Tier 2 at the moment on 43 points to Ivan on 36. Kuipers on 27. This is a golden opportunity for him to really claw back some points in this fight. Ruddo has 26 and Owen rounding out the top 5 with 24. In the Constructors, it is McLaren on 45 points leading the way. Aston Martin on 43. Haas on 39. AlphaTauri 29. Alpine 24. So we can see from there, I mean, for having that front row lockout, this is a perfect opportunity for Kuipers and Simply to make gains in both championships and some big gains at that.
Absolutely, yeah. I mean, especially, you know, in the constructors, as you say, they're down there. Was that fourth or fifth in the constructors? I didn't quite catch that, but yeah, you know, a great chance now if they could, excuse me, if they could secure a 1-2 in this race, that would be massive. But also not forgetting that the McLaren boys are in a very good position in this starting grid as well to try and extend their lead as well.
Yeah, they only have 2 points to the Aston Martins. It's not the greatest stats, but obviously I think Joe has not scored a point yet for Aston Martin this season, which is a bit of a surprise because we know that Joe he isn't slow by any means. Just been a little bit unlucky, I think, this season, and his recent trip to Whiffins Wall wouldn't have helped, especially around here. But then, knowing being Monaco, anything really can happen.
Absolutely, and you don't necessarily around Monaco have to be the fastest car to win the race either. You know, it's so hard to get past around here. Just track position is massive. You know, the last thing you want to do is come into the pits and then find you get stuck behind a train of cars when you come out. It can affect your race massively. But yeah, on the subject of Joe, obviously, like you say, he's not had the greatest start to the season. Sometimes it's quite easy to get in one of those sort of ruts and quite hard to get out of it. But I'm sure once he starts getting some points on the board, he'll be flying along.
So here we go. The Invictus Racing League Tier 2 in partnership with GridFinder.com. We have the 5 red lights, and we are green at Monaco, and the question is which AlphaTauri gets off the line first. It looks like it's going to be Kuiper's going to be keeping the inside as we head into Sandevot for the first time. Looks like we got 4 wide through Sandevot, which is not ideal. 3 wide further back. Looks like contact. Looks like everyone's managed to get through without spinning, but didn't look like it was clean. Oh, there's an Alpine in the wall up by Ravage.
And Ginger Tiger, I believe that is, coming up the hill in the Mercedes. It looked like he got wedged slightly there between 2 other cars, and it just spat him round, I think. Yeah, he's lost a lot of front end of that car as well, so that's definitely going to be a trip to the pits for Ginger Tiger.
Through Lowe's hairpin, and that's a great move from the Alpine of Owen round the outside of SFR Martin at Lowe's hairpin. I don't know if there's any damage for SFR Martin there, but good clean racing through Lowe's from what I can see. But yeah, it was not necessarily the cleanest. It was definitely a little bit scrappy through turn 1, but other than Ginger Tiger, it looks like everyone managed to make it through without major damage.
Yeah, it looked like a clean getaway at first, and there's just 3 cars trying to fit into one, and some boys just clipped the wall there as well in front of Rice's place and has damage, I believe, going very slowly in front of everyone.
Yes, he's lost the front right end plate off that Williams. Also, Joe Hamster has end plate damage. He's losing one, but he's going to continue on. With Monaco, sometimes the damage isn't necessarily the end of your race. As long as you can make your F1 car as wide as a bus, you can kind of limp around with it. Plus, it's a bit too early to be going onto those hard tyres.
Yeah, you'll struggle to get to the end of the race on those hard tyres, and obviously with the apparent lack of safety cars around Monaco, it's going to be a bit of a slog now for Ginger Tiger. But I mean, you never know. It's possible that enough people could make mistakes that you could still get points. But it's going to be a long race now, I think. But a great start for the AlphaTauri guys, holding on to their 1-2.
Yeah, speaking of tyres, I've just got the tyre graphics up. Most people choosing the mediums. JC Battigal, Lewis the Beaker, and Joe Hamster started on hards. That's why Joe didn't pit, because he's only got to run the mediums left. Obviously, Sunboy Ginger started on hards and mediums respectively, but have come in the pits for damages. As Kuipers continues to lead us on to lap 3. DRS is activated, although fair to say we're not expecting it to do a lot.
Yeah, as you say, it's enabled. I'm not sure it's going to make a lot of difference. But hey, it's a nice little gimmick to have around a circuit like this, if nothing else.
It becomes more of a mental thing, doesn't it, around Monaco DRS? Like, when you've got DRS, you know you're within a second, you're close to that driver in front of you. But it's obviously when you don't have it, as Kent makes a move through Mirabeau, loses the back end and instead loses 2 places. And that is Owen being forced into the wall by Ads Lucas. I think that'll be heading to the stewards post-race. Kent still being ghosted at the moment. Now he just unghosts as obviously the game tries to protect everyone around, but not ideal for him. He looks like he's starting to struggle now after that moment through Mirabeau.
Yeah,
and
he's definitely struggling.
Owen down the inside almost at Nouvelle Chicane. Can't quite do it. A little touch on the front wing. He's looking to get past. I think he's got a little bit of red mist about him as SFR Martin passes Kent. I think Kent's got serious damage on that car.
Yeah, it looked like SFR went down the inside into Nouvelle Chicane, and I think Kent just bailed out of it, went straight lined it and let him back pass. But yeah, it seems like maybe he does have damage. Unfortunately, he has a penalty now, which I assume is probably for track limits.
Into the pits he goes.
Yeah, into the pits he goes, yeah.
So not really ideal, because I think obviously he's now got damage. Owen's got an end plate missing after kind of being pushed into the wall between Mirabeau and Lowe's hairpin. So he's not going to be too happy. And you can see it does affect the car, but as long as you're careful with it, you can still run at a fairly okay pace. But back up near the front, no real change. The AlphaTauris are now probably already thinking, no attacking each other, just clear Rodo by 2-3 seconds, get the gap, and deal with the actual race result later. And whether that comes later, I suspect these two will be more than happy to hold position right now and take the points they've got.
Absolutely. I think the interesting thing here now for Kuipers and Simply is Owen gets a 3-second penalty and a yellow flag in sector 2, which is
Pampoen,
who has no front wing left, unfortunately.
That's off
So
at
not a great start for
Portier.
Mercedes.
Yeah, that was off at Portier. It's not normally a corner you'd probably go off on. You normally go off on the one before Portier, but Pampoen finding a way. As Owen now comes in the pits to change that front wing, probably inevitable, especially if he's hit the wing again and broken it even more. As Pampoen picks up a 3 seconds, but it is AlphaTauri leading 1-2. Kuipers from Simply. As Lewis the Beaker overtaking JC Battigal, that looks like it's coming up through Beau Rivage. Job done. I'm not quite sure, as Pampoen has retired in the pits, I believe.
He picked up a 5-second penalty for speeding. I don't know if that was red mist, just driving in and not caring about the speed. It's not easy to speed into the pit lane in Monaco. It's a sad end to the race there for Pampoen.
Yeah, and I'm I think this is more. I mean, Lewis the Beaker running the same tyres as JC Batigal, so it does make me wonder if JC Batigal is nursing that car a little bit at the moment. Because this is the problem when you run the hard tyres around Monaco, you break the front wing. You can't really just come in the pits and get a new one, because then you're setting yourself up for a two-stop race, which, as we know around Monaco with track position, is an absolute killer.
Yeah, it wouldn't. It's not the most practical thing to do. As he runs very wide there, coming out of Raskas. Luckily, has he let him Ricey Spicy pass there? I think he does indeed. But yeah, it's not so bad around Monaco having a little bit of wing damage, because the downforce is so high that, and the corners are so generally slow that you don't lose as much. But like as you say, you can hold people up, you can hold a bit of a train behind you. But yeah, again, for JC Batigal now, this is going to be quite a long race, I think, having to carry this damage for such a long time.
Yeah, you have to feel he's kind of hoping really for a safety car, or even just a virtual safety car to get that wing sorted. As I suspect it's the wing, but obviously we don't always see the full extent of the damages. And we have a yellow flag. That is some boy.
Some boy.
Oh, he's gone off at Casino.
Yeah, he's very much straddling the entire road there. There's just about enough room to squeeze past. It looks like he's maybe had a bit of a wiggle coming out of Casino, and just not been able to catch it by the looks of it.
Yeah, that car cleared pretty quickly, and we stay green as Lewis the Beaker is making inroads here. He's up to 11th down the main straight this time. So Lewis is looking really, really on the pace here in that Red Bull, even on the hard compound tyres compared to others. Now, he did say he had another 8 tenths in his pocket in qualifying, but he invalidated the lap. So it just seems like him showing the pace he had, but obviously couldn't really display.
Yeah, he's obviously the first of the runners on the hards. I mean, tactically now for him, he could obviously keep going and hope that when it's his time to come in for the pits as a VSC, that'll fire him right up the order. You'd expect now with the pace he's showing, he might well start catching the train in front of him. Now he's got some clear air. Although actually, no, sorry, he's not that far behind SFR. Sorry, so once he gets past Martin, if he can get past Martin, yeah, you'd expect him to maybe start catching Ads Lucas. And Martin does appear to be struggling a little.
He's a bit of a snap through Anthony Nose. And here comes the Red Bull. Sunboy has left the paddock for the evening. Did mine clip the wall there, or was it just a little bit close?
Didn't quite see that. I was just checking out the guys at the front just to see if anything was happening. But yeah, he's feeling the pressure here from Lewis the Beaker, and you could see the car didn't seem to be turning quite how he wanted it. He's having to go quite slow into corners, so I do suspect he has some form of damage, but what that damage is, who knows?
I wonder if potentially it could be maybe a bit of floor damage, because obviously we can't see. As Lewis gets a bit trigger happy on the throttle coming out of Portier, and that takes away the chance to try and get a move done into the Nouvelle chicane. But that Williams, the tail of it just looks a little bit happy every now and again, which is a bit of a trait with underfloor damage. It just looks very nervous to me.
Yeah, it's possible. Again, like through the slow corners, he'd be okay, but when you're trying to attack something like the swerve...
Oh, contact. And into the pits comes Martin. Again, very early, but the hards will go the distance from here, just about. We've also
this
got...
releases Lewis now, to see if he can catch up the guys in front.
Yeah, I also saw the Aston Martin guys in the pits. Now, I'm not sure how detailed the game is in terms of if someone's called to come into the box, whether the crew will all come out immediately or not. But it does make me wonder if Joe's planning on coming in, or whether... Yeah, Joe's not coming in. So are we looking at maybe a few very large undercut tries from people?
I mean, Scotty just on the previous lap coming down to here now, down to the Newgale chicane, he did have a little look on Keza, so maybe he's starting to feel a bit frustrated and feels that he has the pace to be catching up with the guys in front. And maybe if he does come in early, he feels that's the best way of trying to get ahead of a few guys in front is to try and undercut. He's cut across the chicane a little bit there.
The biggest problem we've got.
Held.
Yeah, the biggest problem he's got though is that I think that the pit stop delta is about 19-20 seconds, and that's only because obviously the pit lane doesn't go on forever. Obviously the entry is quite short, and the exit, even though you're not leaving technically the pit line until after turn 1, you are cutting that first corner. So it's about a 19-20 second loss around here. And I don't think that puts Scotty in any sort of clean air right now.
I'm looking now, and it may slot him in between JC Batagor and Owen. It'd be very borderline and a risky move to make in that respect. But obviously, these guys here in the front end wouldn't really know that the gap back to where they would come out. So I think if he knew where everyone was on the track. Definitely, he potentially take a punt on it, but without that information, I think it's always a risk. You don't want to get stuck behind 3 or 4 guys that you're like 2-3 seconds a lap quicker than potentially.
Yeah, as everyone comes through the last couple of corners, the AlphaTauris continue to lead us on to lap 11 of 39. Ruddo holding station in third, 1.5 behind Simply at the moment. And we're just watching the battle between Keza and Scotty, as Lucas was getting on the back of Ryan, but it looks like a mistake from him was made. So we are kind of watching the closest sort of battle on circuit at the moment between Keza and Scotty, and Keza not too far away from Matty Rudd either. So we've got a little bit of a triple player battle here, should we say.
Yeah, as I said, Scotty's already had a little look at Keza. I think he's in that awkward position. He's really going to want to clear him, but it's just so hard to do it round here. It's just that patience, isn't it? But after sitting lap after lap behind people, he's overshot a little bit there into the chicane. I think he's maybe getting slightly frustrated being behind these guys, but that's the nature, unfortunately, of a less than ideal qualifying for what Scotty would have liked, and that's put him in this position in the race.
Yeah, obviously, Matty Rudd doing a nice job up in P5. Let's have a quick look at the position changes. Lewis the Beaker up 7 positions, Lucas up 5. So we have got a few movers. Ricey up to 6th, obviously, courtesy of some damages and a couple of retirements. But it's always impressive to see this many changes effectively around Monaco, even though probably the majority of them are not made on track.
No, exactly. You do tend to make more places from people.
We have a yellow flag at Lowe's.
I didn't see one I was for. Everyone seemed to still be driving around as you'd expect them to. So
it's almost like the marshals went, "Why are you so slow around this hairpin?" The yellow flag. It must be.
Yeah, it's a bit strange.
Trigger
happy marshals, well, it seems. But, yeah, I mean, well, maybe Lewis had a slight moment. He was down to about 6.7 behind as Lucas, and he's now dropped half a second on that. So maybe that's what it was. Maybe he had a slight moment, and that's what triggered the marshals. Yeah,
I'm just looking. I think Ricey Spicy actually has lost his M plate. So I wonder if that's the reason, because I think it was Ricey Spicy and Blackside who were going through at the time. So I wonder if Ricey made a bit of contact either with the back of Blackside or maybe at the side, one of the sidewalls, and maybe that's what triggered the yellow flag with a bit of debris on the road.
So Ruddo has halved the deficit now to Simply. He's only 7 tenths behind, and Ivan's also right up on Ruddo as well. So I don't know whether Simply's made like a half mistake somewhere, but yeah, definitely Kuipers has a slightly bigger gap than he did, and Ruddo is now a lot closer.
Yeah, the question is, I see around Monaco, it's one thing to catch someone, another ball game to overtake, and I think ERS will have a part to play, but not as bigger part as we would usually see.
I mean, I believe that the game's suggested pit stop strategies around about lap 17 for the mediums, so we're getting into that sort of area where maybe, you know, you could risk that undercut.
And speaking of that undercut, yeah, the Haas is in, looking to undercut on Matty Rudd. Now, if you're Matty Rudd, obviously you got a 2-second gap here to Ivan. He can push, and we all know it's going to take a lap and a half for those hards really to get up to temperature and for Keza to be fully confident on them. So, if you're Matty Rudd, surely you're looking at maybe pitting this lap or maybe even the next lap and trying to take advantage of warm tyres.
Definitely. I mean, I'm looking like Keza's come out. He's 2.5 seconds behind Blackside, so I think he should be okay. I think he's not going to catch him too quickly warming up these tyres. It shouldn't cost him any time being stuck behind relative to the guys around him before he pitted. So, but I mean, that gives you a rough idea that maybe someone like Ruddo now could probably pit and come out in front of Blackside and have a nice 5-second gap to Lewis De Beeker in front. So there is clean air out there to be had. It's just timing your pit stops right. And
Scotty now in the pits. He's the next one. That's going to be to overcut Keza. As Ryan comes in the pits, he was being hounded by Ads Lucas. Scotty actually looking for the overcut here on Keza, because I'm pretty certain he was behind Keza going into the pit stops. And this is going to be close, but I think Scotty's going to do this.
He may well do, but I think Blackside could interfere here because... not Blackside, yeah, Blackside. Yeah, there he goes. Blackside's in front.
And Keza just squeezes through on the exit.
Yeah, that was very, very close. I think Scotty's going to be a little bit disappointed to see that he's come out behind Keza there. But now the problem they've both got is they're both stuck behind Blackside. So now this is a perfect chance, perhaps, for Matty Rudd to possibly go another lap longer and definitely come out in front of them.
Well, I mean, you're looking at this and thinking maybe Matty Rudd can go a normal strategy here. Especially because obviously the drivers do have the opportunity to run a full track map on their screens. And if they're seeing that, oh, here comes Keza down the outside into the Nouvelle chicane, he gets it stopped, cuts the corner, has to bail out, and he gets a 3-second time penalty.
That's a very harsh penalty, that. And Scotty gets past.
Yeah, well, Keza would have been told to relinquish position. Ryan picks up 10 seconds. I think he's just gone flat out through the Nouvelle chicane.
I believe he's lost his front wing, so I think maybe, a bit of rage. Perhaps he's just cut another. I feel like this is going to result in a trip to the pits and a retirement here.
But yeah, that's unlucky for Keza, because he'd have been told to relinquish the position back to Blackside because he took it off circuit. And in the process of that, obviously Scotty, the opportunistic move came, and he didn't have. He wasn't going to say no to it, was he?
No, definitely. And now obviously Scotty's now stuck behind Blackside. He's gone for a late move, but
Mirabeau or what?
And Blackside's hit his front wing. I think he's damaged it. He gave Scotty room, but maybe too much room, and he unfortunately has damage. And we got a yellow flag. Because Ginger Tiger spun it out of the last corner and again has no front wing. So, yeah, Mercedes losing a lot of front wings here today.
Kuiper's into the pits. I have just noticed as well, Simply's been in the pits and got out ahead of Scotty. So Kuiper's in, Ruddo in. Ivan and Matty continue on. The question is, where is Ruddo going to come out here? You have to feel it's going to be close to Simply, but possibly not quite close enough, as Simply coming out of the Anthony Nose now, down the pit straight.
Very close. He might have him. He could well have him here. I think he's
corner. And yeah, he covers off Simply. Simply tries to get alongside. Can't quite do it. And Ruddo makes the overcut work into what is a net second place.
Ads Lucas was retired. I think that's in the pits though. I think he's retired in the pit lane. Yeah, a great move there for Ruddo then to get in front on the pit stops. It's very, very tight. And now obviously Lewis the Beaker is up to 4th. Obviously he's on the hard tyres. He's still got to come in for a pit stop. He'll be hoping now for something like a VSC to make it a smaller pit stop than it usually would be. A good chance now possibly for Kuipers to...
Oh, and simply 3-second time penalty for the AlphaTauri. One too many cuts on that Nouvelle chicane, I think.
So Matty and Ivan are in the pits.
And this is going to be crucial for these two because of Scotty. Scotty is closed in on Simply and Ruddo very quickly here.
Could they come out? I think Matty could come out in front of Simply 90 here as well.
Well, I think Scotty's going to have him as well.
Oh.
In front of Keza, but behind Scotty.
Yeah, stays ahead. Yeah, stays ahead of Keza.
No net gain though, really, for Matty Rudd there. And I've also just noticed Ivan Belov into second place.
He's done very well. He pretty much did what Ruddo did on the previous lap, really, didn't he? He dumped the guys just in front. So yeah, great stuff for Ivan there.
Oh, that was a bit of wing just coming off in the tunnel. I don't know whose that was. Lewis the Beaker has lost an end plate.
He has. That's not ideal. The question is now, does he just keep plugging away with no end plate? This could really just give Kuipers and Ivan Belov a chance to disappear.
Oh, and he's into the wall at the swimming pool chicane. Ruddo gets past, and I think he's doing the smart thing here. He's just letting people go past now. He's going to want to take a trip to the pit lane. That was very sensible in my opinion from Lewis there. He knew that he had a potential incident on his hands there.
Yeah, definitely. It was sensible. Scotty with 3 seconds now as well. Yeah, he could have kept battling that, but obviously felt that there wasn't any mileage in it.
Well, I think around Monaco, once you kind of lose the end plate, it becomes that much more difficult. So if you're in the last few laps, you probably still go for it. But obviously, when you still got half a race to do on it, it's probably not going to be very nice. As the Ginger Tiger trying not to get in the way of people, but kind of is ghosting into people as he is a lap down. But what we're saying here is Matty Rudd currently net 4th.
He is indeed, yeah. Excuse me. And Keza actually has 6 seconds worth of penalties, so he'll just be trying now to keep a big enough gap back to Owen, who himself has 3 seconds worth of penalties. Yeah, it's going to be hard for Keza to really get any further progress in positions, really, with that penalty.
So on to lap 20 of 39 for the Invictus Racing League Tier 2 in partnership with gridfinder.com. Welcome if you have just joined. We have just finished the round of pit stops in which we've had 2 people making moves under the pit stops of Ivan and Ruddo. The original order was Kuipers, Simply, Ruddo and Ivan. It is now Kuipers, Ivan, Ruddo and Simply as Lewis the Beaker. Is that back in the pits? Yeah, another front wing for Lewis the Beaker. So this race has gone from bad to worse for the Red Bull driver. But I mean, it's not exactly been a boring Monaco Grand Prix, but just a very strategical one.
Yeah, definitely. As we thought, a lot of this is about making the right strategy calls with pit stops to try and gain the places and just letting other people fall by the wayside, which is pretty much how this race has gone so far. But we're only halfway through, still plenty to happen in this race, I'm sure. But Kuipers does appear to now be disappearing off a little bit away from Ivan, and Ivan himself is starting to gap Ruddo a little bit. So it's starting to even out a little bit this race now.
Yeah, Scotty on the back of Simply. I mean, do you reckon he feels that if he can get past Simply, he can start getting off up the road? Because obviously Simply's got the penalty, but if Scotty can get past, get up to Ruddo, try and almost hurry Ruddo along, he may be able to get out of that penalty range from Matty Rudd. But that is if McLaren don't employ a few team tactics along the way. As contact between Scotty and Simply into Mirabeau. Luckily, it doesn't look like there's any damage to Scotty's car. Down in the inside of Lowe's.
I'm not sure. Yeah, I'm not sure about that sort of move. It's a very opportunistic effort, and he's going for another one,
And he's in the wall.
and he's in the wall.
I think that was looking inevitable.
I think impatience getting the better of Scotty there. I think it was the move into the hairpin was fairly unlikely. The move then into the Jensen Buttons corner was even less likely. So yeah, unfortunately, he's suffered from that big time.
And that is going to probably put him out of contention for points. You have to feel potentially as Martin and Ricey behind as he almost clips the wall again through to back. Yeah, patience is a virtue, I believe is the saying, and unfortunately Scotty ran out of that patience. I think he was thinking along the same lines as us, really, that he knew he had a bit of pace to be able to pull away from Simply on this hard tyre, but again, he just had to get past, and unfortunately he tried forcing the issue just a little bit too much.
Yeah, and Scotty's retired in the pits now. He's had enough, unfortunately. Yeah, I think the move into the hairpin wasn't overly. It was ambitious, but it wasn't beyond the realms of possibility. But yeah, like I say, the one after that was never going to happen. I don't think he was really entitled to be sticking his nose into that corner. He'd have been better off just following round and then maybe having to go into the chicane. But that's the way it is. Sometimes when you're racing, you feel like you have to try these things, and sometimes it doesn't pay off. And tonight it didn't pay off.
So the championship leader out of this race. Massive opportunity for the likes of Kuiper's Ivan Ruddo, who are in the podium positions to claw back some points in this championship fight. I'm just going to have a little look, because obviously there's not a lot happening on track. The closest battle we do have on screen at the moment of simply Matty Keza, but they are kind of like a second apart. So let's have a quick look at the championship. Let's see this. So 15 points for Kuipers. I'm not quite sure who's got fastest lap right now. It is Joe Hamster has got the fastest lap. He won't get a point for that because he's currently outside the top 10. He needs a few more people to fall by the wayside a little bit before he can claim that point. But Kuipers currently sat on 15. He would end up being a point behind Scotty. Ivan Belov will take 12, which would mean Ivan Belov would currently take the lead of the championship as it stands. He was 7 behind Scotty going in. Currently, he'll be 5 up on the way out. Ruddo was 17 behind Scotty going in. He currently has 10 points. So we'll put him 7 behind Scotty there. But about 12 behind Ivan Belov. So big chance for these guys, for this championship to tighten right up.
Yeah, definitely. It has been unpredictable so far, this race. And the only predictable thing there has been is no safety car. But yeah, it's great that it's closing the championship up, obviously, for the neutrals. Not so great for the guys who are dropping points to others tonight. But yeah, obviously, like as I say, as neutrals, you want to see a really closely fought championship. And it seems to be providing that for us now.
And you have to feel for McLaren, this is absolute heaven for them right now. They're running 3rd and 5th. Not a boatload of points, but currently taking a lot of points because obviously Aston Martin currently not scoring anything at the moment.
Yeah, and obviously, technically at the moment, as it stands, that's actually a 3rd and 4th with Simply 90's 3-second penalty. So the gains from AlphaTauri will be minimal on McLaren, but the gains by McLaren and everyone else could be massive here. So yeah, I think they'd settle for a 3rd and 4th at the moment as it stands. Yeah, you just got to keep plugging away.
Joe Hamster back in the pit lane, probably for some more damages. Currently, as he now drops to 15th. Meanwhile, JC Battagle on the back of Blackside CZE. Down to the Nouvelle chicane. Round the outside. That's an impressive move if he gets to keep it done. Yes, he does. And it looked fair to me, and the game says it's fair. JC Battagle with one of the very few moves we've seen tonight. But a very nice move at that.
Yeah, great move there from JC Bat, but also credit there to Blackside for giving him the room as well. Great driving from both of them to make sure there was no contact.
JC Pascal does have a 3-second penalty, so he does have the fresher medium tyres on, so he'll be looking to get away from that Alfa Romeo to try and keep that last points paying position right now. Although Blackside is looking like he's going to stick with the Ferrari just a little bit longer. Ricey Spicy getting close to Owen, but Owen has just come out of the pits on a fresh set of medium tyres, so I'm expecting that gap to grow.
As I say, I think Blackside will lose a little bit of time here initially to JC Battigal being on the harder compound, but JC Bat's tyres are going to be 18 laps old by the end of this race, so I'd expect Blackside to be able to come back at him and try and get back within that 3-second deficit that he requires to get back in the points.
I mean, your mindset doesn't necessarily change when you've got someone with a 3-second time penalty in front of you, but you do slightly alter it, don't you? Because you know you don't have to be right with them all the time.
Yeah, it's okay if you can keep that gap at a sensible sort of area around the 1.5 to 2 seconds, and then it's fine. But then when it starts getting up around the 2.8, that's when you start to panic a little bit, perhaps, that you're going to fall outside that 3-second gap. But yeah, I mean, like I said, I think JC Battigal will pull away more than 3 seconds here, but then we'll start to lose grip towards the end of the Grand Prix.
So lap 26, we're watching Keza going through the swimming pool complex or chicanes. He's 1.1 behind Matty Rudd. Joe Hampster's picked up another 3-second time penalty. I think I did just see a fastest lap flag up for someone. That was Kent, so 1:13.409. The race lap record around Monaco, a 1:12.909, sat with Lewis Hamilton from 2021. Probably no great surprise on the basis that was the last year of full on aero winglets and gadgets.
Yeah, Owen looked like he could make a move here up to 2-1 potentially with the fastest lap now as well. I couldn't quite get the move done there on SFR Martin, but he's got a better run up the hill, just side by side.
What Beau Ravage, and I mean, it's not straight, that's for certain, and Owen almost into the wall. But Owen looks to have used up a lot of his ERS here. He's got the light blinking on the back. So SFR Martin on 18 lap old hard tyres. I mean, he's maybe looking just to go to the end here and be this sort of double-decker bus to just defend his position. But I'm not quite sure how much he's going to be able to with a very big lack of grip come the end of this race.
Yeah, definitely. Also noticing there, Keza another 3-second penalty, so I think he's up to 9 seconds now. He's a fair bit clear of SFR Martin there in 7th anyway. But yeah, if his chances of getting into the top 5 were minimal before, I would have to say it's quite impossible, barring any mistakes from the guys in front.
As SFR Martin picks up 3 seconds himself through the swimming pool chicanes. And this is as Lewis the Beaker has disconnected, I think. So he's having some technical issues, which is not what you wanted. But side by side between Owen and Martin, once again, contact through Massenet, and round goes Martin.
Yeah, unfortunately he's just backed into the wall there as well, so hopefully he's not done some rear damage. I don't know, I didn't see if he's lost front wing or not. But
looks like he's okay. And that's interesting. I think the game's just told Ricey Spicy to hand that place back, even though mine was the car recovering. It's a bit of a known thing with this game, but that's a bit harsh on Ricey Spicy there.
Yeah, a little bit harsh from the in-game stewards. There's not a lot he could really do about that other than overtake Martin. But yeah, unfortunate there that Owen and Martin made contact. I didn't catch it as much as you did there, but a big shame really for someone to go spinning off, especially in that sort of part of the circuit. It's not somewhere where you normally expect contact to be being made, other than maybe the first lap as Martin hits the wall down at swimming pool, but gets away with it.
Yeah, looking like Lewis seemingly unable to get back into the session. And obviously, that contact from Martin has broken the front wing properly now, so he's in the pits. Lewis, I believe if you go into the message group, you should be able to use the older invite from Ivan there. So just give that a whirl. If not, I suspect Bruce can probably chuck an invite in that group, or something along those lines. But Keza has rocked up to the back of Matty Rudd, so...
Sorry, yeah, Matty Rudd then, as he was going to New Val chicane, I don't know if he caught the rear left, but he had a massive slide going through it. It looked consistent with clipping your rear left on the inside wall, so yeah, not ideal. And now that drops him out of the 3 seconds that he was behind Simply, so good news for the AlphaTauri team.
It is, but the only issue for the AlphaTauris here is that obviously Roddo's ahead of Simply. Now, I'm not going to say that games will be played, but if you're the team of McLaren, you're going to want Roddo not necessarily to drive dangerously, but maybe just drive that little bit slower just to hold Simply up, because we know how easy it is to defend round here. Simply's actually gone round after lows. Oh, and that's a reset.
A bit of a reset, which is very frowned upon normally. So.
Oh, and he's almost turned into Matty Rudd going through Portier. Matty Rudd was down the inside. And that is front wing damage for AlphaTauri, and Simply's woes just keep going. He just can't seem to string a whole race together at the moment.
Yeah, so obviously with the suggestion there that maybe Roddo might start slowing down to back up Simply into Matty, but that's not a consideration anymore, unfortunately, for Simply 90 and unfortunately for AlphaTauri. And this is gonna, he could get in the pits here Simply and get out ahead of Owen. It's going to be tight.
I think he will come out just behind, but possibly he might go with the soft tyre here. So
yeah, all is not completely lost, I don't think, for Simply here, but obviously that's not an ideal situation to be in.
A new set of mediums going on to the AlphaTauri, so he's looking just to go flat out to the end. Where's Owen to? Owen just coming along. He's already passed Simply, obviously, because that pit lane loss, obviously a lot longer due to the front wing change. But Keza's still on the back of Matty Rudd, and Ivan Belov has slowly been chipping away here at Kuipers. He's down to 9/10. But again, I think the big question here is, I suspect Kuipers has had so much time, he's probably got a lot of ERS that he can just use on a single lap to get away.
Yeah, it is one of those things now for Kuipers. As long as he can hold his nerve, you only need a bit of ERS here and a bit of ERS coming into the tunnel, and you should be pretty safe. But yeah, it's just a case of holding your nerve, almost ignoring that there's a car behind you, really. The battles do seem to be now between first and second, and also Keza is up with Matty Rudd still, although sporting a rather large penalty at the moment for Keza.
Yeah, and obviously you can see Kent going past Lewis the Beaker. Unfortunately, Lewis the Beaker has effectively retired, unfortunately, from this race. He disconnected. He's unable to get back in. So that's the end of his night in the Red Bull. So if you do see people making moves on Lewis, nothing to worry about. Unfortunately, it's just because his AI is controlling the car. But I'm going to stick with this leading battle of Kuipers and Ivan. Partially because obviously with Keza, obviously he's got that penalty. So you have to feel that if Keza does get alongside Matty Rudd, you feel that Matty Rudd's probably not going to fight it too much on that knowledge. Because it would be silly.
Yeah, it's definitely not a battle that Matty needs to get embroiled in, really. And with such a big gap.
Oh, sorry, Bruce. I think Ivan just clipped the wall at Sandevot, and it's cost him a little bit of time, and hopefully he's not cost him any damage on his car, because he was starting to look a little bit racy against the AlphaTauri.
He's dropped a few tenths back here, hasn't he? But interesting to see this will now be where you see if there's a big in grip. It doesn't appear as though he's done too much damage by the looks of it.
Keza gets very close to the back of the McLaren, through Mirabeau, down through Lowe's, and heading towards Portier. This has been a nice drive for Matty Rudd. It's definitely been a measured one, which you don't always see with Matty. It's good to see when he has one of these drives where it's just measured, no penalties so far. It's been a really nice, clean race for him and both McLarens.
Yeah, by just tapping the wall there at the Nouvelle Chicane a few laps ago. As you say, both McLarens have just sort of gone about their business. Nothing overly exciting, and they've just sort of let the race come to them. Really, which is the best way to go around this place, without a doubt.
Well, Owen, I'm just going to elaborate on Owen here. He's up into 6th place. He also has fastest lap. Now, from where he was a while back, I mean, he got squeezed into a wall heading down into Lowe's. So he had to come in, replace the front wing. He's done 2 stops, if I'm not wrong here. Which I'm not. He is the first person who's to have done 2 stops on that leaderboard. That's mightily impressive just from a patience perspective to see out this race. I mean, because there's a few people that would have probably been in his position having to come in ridiculously early, maybe going, there's not too much point, it's Monaco, you can't overtake.
Yeah, exactly. Another prime example, is sometimes you just got to have that never give up attitude, and anything can happen in motor racing. And Owen's proven that now with, I'm sure he'd be delighted with 6th place.
Just going to check his penalties. He does have a 6-second penalty, which is 3 seconds more than Simply, but that gap doesn't look to be really closing at a rate that is going to allow Simply to be in a window there. As we head back to the battle with Matty Rudd and Keza, I think Ivan's picked up damage because he's 1.4 behind Kuipers, and I wouldn't say he's really gaining at all on Kuipers anymore, so I reckon he may have a little bit of front wing damage, and maybe he's just decided those extra 3 points probably not worth the risk of losing 12 right now.
Yeah, definitely. If you do have damage, you've got a good stack of points coming your way. There isn't really much point in throwing it all away just for the sake, as you say, of a few points. You're better off losing those 3 points than 12. So probably the sensible thing to do, really, for Ivan in this situation.
As Joe Hamster has decided he's going to take... Keza's disconnection. That's not ideal for the Haas driver. That's going to free up Matty Rudd and give him a nice, quieter run into the end of this race.
Brings Owen into the potential for 5th place now as well.
It does, yeah. I don't know what the ruling is around the disconnection time. I think you have to have maybe done 90% to get whatever position the AI might get. I'm not quite certain on how it works.
It's 90%. We're around about that sort of region if that is the case.
Because it is back in now. But unfortunately, the Mercedes of Ginger Tiger has just unlapped himself because obviously the AI is slower than him at the moment. But yeah.
And hopefully for Keza he can get back in pretty quick here. I think, is he in now?
He is in now. His car's back solid, so that's good to see.
He probably wasn't going to get any higher than 5th, so I don't think he's going to lose out too much on this now.
That depends really, because Owen is only 2.2 away from being in that window to Keza, because Keza's got 9 seconds compared to Owen's 3. Or has Owen got 6? Let's have a quick... No, Owen's got 6, sorry, so Keza's definitely got a lot of... He's got about 5 seconds there to Owen at present.
I do feel generally a little bit robbed here, because that disconnect has robbed us of the only battle that was on track.
Yes.
Unfortunately, we've got a fair spread of times now from everyone. Ivan is keeping that gap around the 1-3, 1-4 area, but I think he's not going to be pushing out to get that unless he saved an absolute boat full of ERS, which I suspect isn't the case here.
No, I'm pretty certain the red light was blinking going up Beau Rivage then, so I don't think he's got a lot to work with. But before, obviously, Keza, I did see Joe Hamster has decided to take the point away from Owen for fastest lap on those soft compound tyres. Obviously, Joe does not receive that point because he's not in the top 10, but he's definitely taking points away from people today.
Yes, Joe, I assume, is sat there now currently hoping for 5 retirements in the last 3 laps. I think it's probably not going to happen, but yeah, showing his pace if nothing else, albeit on the soft tyre.
Yeah, I mean, the question is, if you're no one's really got a gap here other than Kent, but again, there's not really much point because he's not going to get the point. But there's no one in the top 10 who really has a gap here to be able to come in for softs on like now and try for the fastest lap either.
No, exactly. Ivan has just taken half a second out of Kuipers. I don't know if that's a mistake from Kuipers or
is it just Kuipers just making sure he brings it home in one piece? Because it's hard to tell around Monaco because you kind of want to see the drivers pushing hard, but they know if they do that at the end, there's a high chance of that mistake.
Yeah, it could be that it's, as you say, measured approach now to just bringing the car home, no mega risks. Especially if he believes that Ivan has a bit of damage, obviously it sort of gives him the opportunity to relax a little bit now.
Meanwhile, I think we are going to have a battle on our hands here. This for 11th place, just outside the points. SFR Martin does have damage. He's got an end plate missing, and he's going to come up against Kent, who's got a fully working car. Not a lot of ERS though. Into Sandoval, 5/10 the gap, and you can definitely see the damage hampering Martin through that corner.
Yeah, again, Ivan seems to be slightly quicker than Kuipers in that last sector, but we're obviously on to the last lap now. You'd have to say that barring any disastrous mistake now for Kuipers, I think he's looking pretty good for this one. Ivan's just hovering there, waiting, isn't he, for a mistake? But yeah, Kuipers would deserve this race win by far.
I mean, especially after last week at Silverstone, obviously he didn't pick up many points because of a drive-through due to speeding under the virtual safety car, and himself and I believe his ads Lucas were just untouchable in qualifying and at the start of the race. So almost like a bit of vengeance for last week at Britain.
Yeah, definitely.
Martin in the wall, but somehow keeps his place and keeps his front right wheel.
Yeah, Kuipers would have been obviously a little bit disappointed after that drive-through last week, but yeah, I'll let you take over here, Jordan, as we round the final couple of corners.
So Anthony knows we go, and it is going to be Kuipers who takes the duel of Formula 1. Kuipers wins the Monaco Grand Prix from Ivan Belov in second. Ruddo just coming through as Keza picks up another time penalty. That could be interesting in terms of where Owen is. But Ruddo comes through for another podium. 2 podiums on the trot now for Ruddo. 2 third places. Matty Rudd, 4th place. A great strong finish for McLaren. Keza comes home 5th on track. I think Owen's just outside of that timing window by 0.7 of a second. It's 6th place for the Alpine. Simply 90 after what looked like a extremely promising race. He finishes in 7th place. Ricey Spicy going a little bit slow. Is he in the car? I'm not quite sure what's going on here with the Red Bull of Ricey Spicy. I don't think I've seen anything although he has made a mistake, which is unusual for an AI. I'm not quite sure what's going on there, but Ricey Spicy got overtaken by JC Batagol. So JC Batagol 8th, Ricey Spicy in 9th. Blackside will come home in 10th. SFR Martin will fend off. I don't know what's happened to Kent. Kent's gone off the back. Martin in 11th. Kent will be in 12th. Ginger Tiger, Lewis the Beaker, Joe Hamster all have already finished 13th, 14th, 15th. Here comes Kent with no front wing. And that is the end of the Monaco Grand Prix.
Yeah, I think that race sort of kind of followed the pattern very much of last night's Tier 3 race. It sort of very difficult to get past people. But still, the guys at the front there and tonight definitely deserved their podiums.
Absolutely, as we see Kuiper's the first multiple winner of the season. We have had four rounds, four winners up to this point. Kuiper's the first one to take his second victory of the season, and it is the duel of Formula One. Certainly, this qualifying was a massive help, and that strategy works very nicely for him to keep him in that lead. Bruce, would you like to take us through the provisional results?
I would absolutely love to do that. So, Kuiper's there converting his pole position today into a race win, which is a great result for him. Ivan Belov not far behind there in second place. Ruddo staying put in third there after qualifying, but again, he'll be pleased with that podium. His teammate Matty Rudd in fourth. Keza holding on to fifth just about, despite the penalties, ahead of Owen. Simply 90, a bit of a disaster towards the end of the race there for him. Finishes seventh with JC Battigal in eighth. Ricey Spicy in ninth and Blackside in 10th. SFR Martin 11th with Kent in 12th. Ginger Tiger 13th. Lewis de Beeker 14th with Joe Hamster bringing up the last of the finishers. With Scotty, Lucas, Ryan, Sunboy and Pampo, and all unfortunately retiring from the race.
Yeah, effectively Joe finished 14th there, because I think obviously Lewis de Beeker disconnected. We're just getting some drivers into the party chat. Hopefully we'll get Kuiper's in for the race winner. I'm just waiting to see if he will be joining, but we do have Ruddo and Ivan in with us. So we'll make a start with the guys we've got. We'll go back to front in comparison to normal. Obviously, well done, chaps, on your podium. So you can just make sure your settings are correct to allow your voice to be shared, so the world that is watching can hear you. Ruddo, we'll start with you. Congratulations, another podium for this season. It's been a good couple of races, 2 podiums on the trot, 2 third places. And that looked like very much just the patient game of taking what comes to you. Nice, just is a simple Monaco drive.
Yeah, I think my qualifying helped me out. We've finished qualifying third, so it was a case of then just getting a good start and going from there. I thought the overcut would work on Simply, which it did, but then it was just then a gamble between if I was going to get caught up in traffic and Ivan's pace, and there was a red ball just in between when I came out the pit, so I wasn't surprised when Ivan jumped me, but then in the end it was like, just don't crash, basically. I wasn't using any ERS until the last couple of laps, and I had 2 track limit warnings early on in the race, so it was literally don't crash, don't cut any corners, and bring it back.
Yeah, I mean, I was going to ask you about the overcut. You've kind of answered that one. Obviously, you overcut Simply and then got kind of overcut yourself being caught up in traffic. Obviously, when you're caught up in traffic, what is that sort of thought process and feeling? Because you kind of feel like you can go quicker than that, so you kind of want to get past, but that's just going to cause you to be even slower at times.
Yeah, there's a fine line between going for a move that's not there, especially around here. I think, at upper tracks, you can take a bit of a more riskier approach to it, but around here it's just worth no risk. I knew I jumped Simply. He then got a 3-second penalty, so it was almost a case of, if I finish, it'll be third. So, yeah, Ivan and Kuiper's was different level. Ivan obviously drove a good race and was quick, so yeah, I think third was probably the best I could do today.
Absolutely, and a good result for you and for you both as McLaren drivers as well, with Matty Rudd there in fourth.
Really good result. It's a good result for Matty, and obviously helped with. I don't know what happened with Simply. He was behind me 1 second, and then Matty was behind. But we were both just managing it towards the end.
So yeah, Bruce, any questions for Rodo?
Yeah, hi mate. All right. Well done today on the podium. Looking forwards in the constructors, obviously, you've got that nice result today with the third, Matty Rudd, your teammate there in fourth. Um, Starting to put in some consistent results. Do you feel now, even only at round 5, that the constructors' title is a real possibility for both of you?
I mean, it's really early on in the season, isn't it? I've been impressed with Matty this season. I didn't think he would be up as high as he is, and that's not meant to be in any sort of bad way. But yeah, he's done well, and usually we sort of get to mid-season, and it's a case that he's helping me to try and do on the championship, but I feel like there's an asparagus tip between us this season, and it's only good. So we'll keep going. We'll keep going. I still want to win the drivers' championship, but if we can win the constructors, then we should be there or thereabouts at the end of the season.
Nice. It seems as well, also, on top of that Matty appears to have finally started listening to you about avoiding getting penalties.
Yeah, yeah, it's quite funny actually because I keep getting more than him now, and it's literally a case: don't get any penalties, don't get any penalties, and that is massively helping towards the results that we're getting. Again, getting 3 seconds, 9 seconds. I think Keza had 9 seconds, so there's literally no reason for May to even fight with him because if he got past and caught me up, he'd have to then get past me, and yeah, it's difficult to get past one. Never mind two cars. So yeah, he's listening, he's doing well, and it's only good for both of us.
Absolutely. Congratulations on your third, and Matty has actually commented on the stream saying that he thinks that was meant to be a compliment. I can assure you that was probably, well, I'd say probably is a compliment from Redo there.
I don't compliment him a lot, but I will do sometimes.
But well done on your third place, Rado. Very well deserved results. But we move on to Ivan, second place. Congratulations, Ivan. Your fourth podium of this season. You've had the whole array of them now. You've had 2/3, a win, and now a second place. And we'll start off. Obviously, Rado mentioned it. The overcut on Rado to get yourself in that position. Was that planned for that stop, or was it a case of whatever Rado done, do the opposite?
Hello everyone. Yeah, that's was the plan. I tried to overtake Rado just once on the main straight, but it was impossible. And then I just decided to do an overcut. So
Okay,
that's.
So at what point did you think that was the best way to go in the race? What sort of lap were you thinking of that overcut?
I didn't think about a lap. I just decided to do one or maybe two laps after Rado, but I think yeah, one was the best decision.
Absolutely. And I just want to ask you, near the end of that race, obviously you were catching up to Kuipers. You weren't far away from him, but I did see you I think you clipped the wall at Sandovot turn number 1 late on in the race. Did that give you any damage which stopped you from potentially challenging for that
That's true. That's true. I was a little bit fast on the entry, and I had a yellow damage, so I did a mistake. I just tried to push him to take some pressure on him and did a mistake. He was absolutely brilliant today.
No, he was a very, very good driver himself, and obviously for you guys at Haas, it was a good team result as well. Obviously, yourself second, Keza down in fifth, a good little haul of points, which will take you obviously above Aston Martin now in that constructors fight. Again, I mean, constructors is that something that you and Kez are thinking of long term?
No, we didn't talk about that yet. We just tried to do our best, and thanks him, he was very careful on the start. We were side by side, and he was very careful tonight.
Bruce, any questions for Ivan?
Hi, Ivan. Yeah, well done, mate, on your podium. Obviously, you're having quite a good run of podium results. Nice consistency so far this season, and I think you may be ahead of Scotty now after tonight. I'm not 100% sure, but do you feel this is consistency you can continue for the rest of the season to give you a great chance at the championship?
I'll try. Consistency is everything, and I'll try to do my best. It's 9 races to go, right? Pretty much.
10, I believe, because we've got Baku still to go.
Yeah, 10. So let's see what happened.
That's brilliant. Well, congratulations, Ivan, on second place. I don't think we have anything from Kuipers to read out, but obviously congratulations to Kuipers as well for the race victory. It's a very thoroughly deserved podium and victory for Kuipers there. So congratulations to everyone on the podium. It was quite an entertaining race from a strategic point of view, but obviously Monaco only creates so much action. But next week we head to Belgium, which is on the complete other end of the scale. If Bruce is there,
Is that it?
wow,
You waiting
I
for Bruce?
don't know if Bruce is there.
Sorry, I didn't get my cue there from the director. Yeah, no, Spa definitely. The circuit is, as you say, completely different. We're going from really tight corners to very fast flowing corners. So, yeah, I think a lot of guys will be sort of starting to get practice in towards the end of this week and over the weekend. It's it'll be very interesting. Going up through a Rouge is definitely a lot more different than going around the hairpin at Monaco. That's for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. But that is the end of the Tier 2 action for tonight. So thank you everyone for watching tonight's stream. Obviously, if you have enjoyed what you've seen around Monaco, don't forget to like the stream. Obviously, subscribe to the Invictus Racing League YouTube channel, because we do have more racing this week. Tomorrow, we are still at the Principality of Monaco, where we have Tier 1 action that's presented to you by myself and Webbo. And on Thursday, we also have the Realistic Performance League around Monaco, presented to you by Malc and Tim. So make sure you subscribe to the channel to make sure you don't miss those streams. But from myself and Bruce, we'd like to thank you for watching the Invictus Racing League Tier 2, brought to you in partnership with gridfinder.com. And we hope to see you next week round Spa-Francorchamps for what will technically be round 7, but the 6th race of this league next Tuesday, same time. But until then, have a good rest of your week.